Yep, I made a couple big mistakes this offseason. One of those being Trevor Lawrence. I wish I could go back in a time machine and draft Trevor Lawrence in every Dynasty startup. Tell everybody to go trade for Lawrence. I didn't. I made a mistake, and I want to go through or reevaluate where we should rank Trevor Lawrence, what his Dynasty trade value is, the historical comparables that we have to his second season, because the man has been a freaking superstar. But before we get into anything, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down there in the comment section. And if you want to check out any of these player props, every single week they have them. If you want to get in a live draft with us, you know we do them pretty much every single night. You can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the description of this video, as well as in the comment section. When you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and it's available in damn near every state. But that should be it. And with Trevor Lawrence, it's always a question of how far back do we start when we go through his overall profile? Because I know that what you're going to hear from a lot of people, if we are going to go and talk about Trevor Lawrence, the player, #1 high school recruit coming out. This is a player that 100% was deemed the chosen one. People were viewing him as the same caliber as Andrew Luck. This guy was going to be an unquestioned hit. This guy was going to be the next great NFL quarterback. People were saying that out of high school. Now, y'all know I'm a little bit of a sicko, so I believe about 5 years ago at this point, for one of my college research papers for a biostatistics class, we definitely should not have done this, but we went through and we looked at fantasy football success rates for players based on high school pedigree. And really what we came away with is high school recruit rank matters at running back, at quarterback, at wide receiver. It's crap. It's noise. It doesn't matter. Ignore it. So I don't want to focus too much in on that. But what we can look at is Trevor Lawrence gets to Clemson, and Trevor Lawrence dominates. 2018, going up against Alabama in the national title game, where Alabama's sitting there with the nastiest roster you could ever imagine. Like literally, maybe the best college roster of all time. Trevor Lawrence wins. Trevor Lawrence, as a true freshman, goes through and in 15 games, obviously didn't start each one, but has 30 passing touchdowns, has 4 interceptions, has a passing rate of 157. This only gets better going forward. His sophomore year, 166. His junior season, 169. An unbelievable college resume, and he's the unquestioned first overall pick in the NFL draft. And on top of this, hell, he's the unquestioned 101 in his Dynasty rookie draft in those 12-team Superflex leagues. Now, I understand a lot of people are going to say, oh, I didn't have him at the 101. Yes, you did. Stop lying. Now, if we were going to be looking at what he did his rookie season, this is why I was not really on him. I mean, I wish I could go back and say I was, but no. I mean, after we saw all those rookie quarterbacks fail in that 2021 draft class, I was saying sell them all. I was saying get off all of them, go buy veteran options because they were so damn bad. If you look at Lawrence, his rookie season, the man comes in and has legitimately maybe the worst season of any quarterback. 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 6.0 for his yards per pass attempt. I mean, if you're going to be looking at it as an adjusted yards per pass attempt, it is even significantly worse than this. From an adjusted yards per pass attempt standpoint, I mean, you actually had Trevor Lawrence at 4.7. To put into context how bad this is, we can head over to RotoViz and we can look at quarterbacks that had at minimum 400 passing attempts their rookie season, that had an adjusted yards per pass attempt, so that takes into account touchdowns as well as interceptions, under 6.3. Lawrence was at 4.7. Okay, keep in mind, Lawrence was at 4.7. He didn't come close. You had Joey Harrington, Blaine Gabbert, David Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Blake Bortles, Sam Darnold, Byron Leftwich, Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, Sam Darnold. Since the year 2000, those were the quarterbacks that had over 400 pass attempts and had an adjusted yards per pass attempt worse than 6.3. Laughably bad. I mean, what? The best success on this list ends up being Ryan Tannehill? Ryan Tannehill is the ceiling that you're looking at. Carson Wentz, maybe. So I was out on Lawrence, if I'm going to be honest. And a lot of smart people came out and said, you know what? Yes, this historical data is accurate. It's valid, but we need to throw it out the window in the case of Trevor Lawrence. If we look at this team, you had Urban Meyer, the donkey, at head coach. Urban Meyer out there kicking his own kickers. Urban Meyer out there hanging out in bars way too late, doing some questionable things. Arguably the worst head coach in the NFL. So bad you get replaced one season in. So bad you can't even make it to year 2. So a lot of people said, you know what? You can't hold his rookie season against him. He's going to get better. We need to look at what Trevor Lawrence is like with a real coaching staff in Jacksonville. Jacksonville then in the offseason gets back in Travis Etienne, who, keep in mind, lost his entire rookie season to that foot injury, goes out there and pays Christian Kirk way too much money. But, I mean, who else are you going to give the money to? You need a wide receiver in Jacksonville. You add in Zay Jones, been pretty damn good. You add in Evan Ingram. You get a real coaching staff in, and all of a sudden, it's a different situation. It's a different story in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence comes out and so far this season has 20 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence, from a yards per pass attempt standpoint, at 7. His passer rating, 95.4. If you compare this to what you had previously his rookie season at 71.9, night and day difference for Trevor Lawrence. And if we go through and look at quarterbacks since 2018, so we're going to be looking at about the past 5 seasons that have been able to go through and have an adjusted yards per pass attempt mark of 6.9, which that's what RotoViz is saying Trevor Lawrence is at. Honestly, if you look at Pro Football Reference, it's higher, so I don't really know who to trust, but we're going to go with these RotoViz numbers. 6.9 adjusted yards per pass attempt, minimum 450 passing attempts, so you have a good sample, and you are a top 10 draft pick in your first or second season, and you had a passing TD rate at 4.2% at least, and you cannot have 1.2% of your passing attempts turning into interceptions. Here are the quarterbacks over the past 5 years that have gotten there. Baker Mayfield, going to be the worst name on this list. Baker Mayfield, if you remember, where was he going in Dynasty startups after his second season? Do y'all remember where Baker Mayfield was drafted? I mean, after his rookie season, Baker Mayfield was a first-round Dynasty startup pick. That is where people were valuing him. Okay, so I know that turns out massive bust, but back in the day, hell, he had a lot of Dynasty value. Patrick Mahomes, not sure if you've heard of him. He's pretty damn good. Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert did it his rookie season and his second year, and then Joe Burrow in his second season as well. So if you're looking at Trevor Lawrence, his comparables from year 1 goes to a group of guys that never turn out to anything to all of a sudden some pretty damn good quarterbacks. I mean, I can't remember a turnaround from year 1 to year 2. I mean, in recent memory, that's been as remarkable as Trevor Lawrence's. If you can think of one since about 2014, please let me know. I mean, you had kind of Jared Goff, if we want to include him, obviously, when you had Sean McVay coming in his second season compared to Jeff Fisher. But outside of Jared Goff, I can't think of anybody who had this kind of turnaround from year 1 to year 2. If we're looking at Keep Trade Cut right now to see where Lawrence is being valued in Dynasty startups, Lawrence is that late round 1 pick / early round 2. He's going behind Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Herbert, Burrow, Lamar, Fields, and right ahead of Tua, Kyler, Dak, and Deshaun Watson. Now, I would love to come out here and say, okay, yeah, no, Trevor Lawrence should be going significantly higher than this. Trevor Lawrence needs to be a top 5 quarterback. I would love to make this a super spicy video while I try to sell you on Trevor Lawrence being a top 5 Dynasty Superflex startup pick. In reality, I can't get there. There are a ton of very quality quarterbacks. Obviously, you're not going to be able to start moving them ahead of guys like Joe Burrow. He's not even close to that same tier, but he is completely turned the corner where if you were one of the people that drafted Trevor Lawrence in the 3rd round, 4th round of Dynasty startups last year, I can't tell you to sell high. I think you made a great selection. I think that he's appropriately valued as a late 1st, early 2nd round Dynasty Superflex startup pick. I just want to come out here, make an entire video saying the man's pretty damn good. Going forward, you get Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. Like Calvin Ridley's a phenomenal wide receiver. I know a lot of people aren't going to remember because Calvin Ridley really hasn't been productive since 2020. But one of the most encouraging things, in my opinion, on the outlook of Calvin Ridley next season is the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars were willing to go out there and pay a decent amount to get him. I mean, if they acquired Calvin Ridley for a 4th round pick, I'd be like, okay, well, Calvin Ridley has the name value, but I guess the NFL doesn't value him as we would assume he had the talent. But no, I mean, the NFL is telling us, hey, we still believe Calvin Ridley has the talent. You give Christian Kirk a ton of money, who's been pretty damn good this year. So if you get Ridley coming in to replace Marvin Jones / Zay Jones in this offense, if all of a sudden maybe Evan Ingram's turned the corner and Travis Etienne is a quality passing down running back, situation's not that bad for Trevor Lawrence here. But please let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you think we're a little too optimistic, a little too pessimistic. I think where he is ranked, according to Keep Trade Cut, is a pretty fair mark. And if you enjoyed this video, go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play Dynasty. And if you want to check out any of these player props, if you want to get in a draft with us on the live stream, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match available in damn near every state. But I think that's all I got for you. Thank you again. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day.